Okay, I think we are live, and I am purely and totally excited about this morning. As I told you, I often just get off of this fantastic Think and Grow Rich call that kind of gets me inspired and stimulated for our call here. So I'm really thrilled that you're all here today. And the reason I am additionally excited is the fact that I have this wonderful, wonderful guest with us, Carla Silver. And I will turn it over to her in just a few minutes to tell us about her story and her journey that has taken her from where she was to where she is today. And I think you're all going to be very, very thrilled to hear what that story is. Um, and the way I look at it, and what's so wonderful, is that Carla is just the most approachable individual. We have known each other for almost 10 years, which I cannot believe when I started calculating, Carla. I can't believe that we've known each other quite that long. But it is wonderful that you and I have reconnected over time because we lost touch there, but boy, have we reconnected in a big, big way. And so, folks, I really want you to stay tuned to hearing her story. It is amazing, and you're just going to love her just by the fact that she has this great smile and makes you just feel so wonderful when you're with her. So for the team and a couple of announcements. If you did not listen to the Power Hour call last night, it was fantastic. Many of you team members get on the morning call with us and hear Elena Fraga, who I'm also trying to get on as a guest, but she's such a busy lady, as you heard last night. If you didn't, does these hangouts almost every single day, doesn't have a lot of space in between her time to do them, but I think we'll be able to work something out with her. But she did do an amazing job. I'm really giving away some really great nuggets during that call. So listen to the recording for sure. And she also talked for those that sometimes, and for those that are listening that may not be part of the Empower Network team or business here, we have launched a different strategy than we always have had. We've always had online marketing, and now what we're offering is a way to do marketing or online marketing. I'm sorry. We've always done internet marketing here. That's what Empower Network has always been always all about. We are now offering a way for those that aren't as comfortable on the internet to approach this fabulous business and take advantage of all its benefits by doing offline marketing by simply having this fantastic DVD. And that is real critical to some people, and you don't want to miss out or have anyone miss out on this opportunity that has really helped millions and thousands of people. And just in the mere fact of it being so approachable, the team and the support that we offer, all the things that are here. And I think it's the community and many, many other little aspects, the factor of trust and that has also allowed me to continue being here and loving it so much. So I did want to just make those quick announcements so I can give the floor back to um, Carla and allow her to tell her story. You know, take some notes, folks. I know that whatever she has to say is worth writing down and then turning that around and implementing it in whatever way you see going to make it work for you. So, Carla, thank you so much for being here and joining all of us today. And I just wanted to say, folks, do you know Carla's on the West Coast? It's very early in the morning, and she was willing to do this for us. And I thank her so tremendously for being a part of this call. So, Carla, take it away.
Have my coffee. Donnie woke me up at about 5:30 by poking me in the side and said, "It's time for you to get up."
Oh my
So
God.
you know what, Jesse, I am I'm totally grateful to be here with you. That was going to be my very first question was how long have we known each other?
Oh my
I couldn't
gosh.
remember this
Right.
morning. I was like, how long has it been?
Yeah, it's almost 10 years. So it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe where time goes.
Well, I suppose we're both celebrating, I know I am, a decade of being gainfully unemployed
Oh, the
and
best.
not going to a job every day. Hey, listen, I'm just going to take a couple of minutes and talk a little bit about my story. Maybe some of you have heard it before, maybe you haven't. But before I do that, I just want to say, Jesse, I'm totally grateful for being asked to be on this webinar hangout with you today. So I appreciate you. You are an amazing leader. We're watching you and looking at you build your business and your incredible team. And so for those of you that are watching this today, you are in fabulous, fabulous hands. You couldn't be with a better leader. So I'm just grateful to be here with you and with you, Jesse, and with the rest of your team. So I don't think that my story is particularly, I don't know, I guess the word would be special. I don't think that I'm out of the ordinary. I think that a lot of people have a very similar story to mine. It's just maybe many people haven't made the same decisions that I have. I was taught to go to school, get a job, go to good school. I did. But I didn't get the greatest grades in the world. I was also busy having fun too. But I went to a good school and I graduated and I got a job. And one of the things that I did have instilled in me was a heavy sense of responsibility and ambition. So like most people, or many people, I worked my way up the corporate ladder. I was in the entertainment industry for almost 15 years or so, and then I was recruited into the internet industry in the late 90s, which really didn't exist. So I was just busy working my way up the corporate ladder until I got to a place in my life where I had spent between 96 and the year 2000, so about 4 years I had spent, and I was always traveling for business anyway, and I loved that aspect of my life. But between 1996 and the year 2000, I spent, well, let's put it this way. I put over 1 million miles on American Airlines. So for any of you that have ever traveled, that is a lot of miles. That is basically being away from home all the time. And I was very lucky. I was in the right place at the right time. It was a fun place to be. The internet industry was in its infancy. I sold one of the first banner advertising ever on the web. We got to be very creative. My deals went from 5,000 to 50,000 to 500,000 to 5 million to my biggest deal was $50 million. I mean, it was crazy money, right? Just insane money. And I had some fun, but there was something missing in my life, and I was casting about for what it was. My husband at the time also traveled a lot, and we led this goofy lifestyle where we were just so busy on the road. We would say, hey, do you want to meet in New York City this weekend? Do you want to meet in, once we met in Paris for the weekend. Maybe if he wasn't coming home for the weekend and I was on the road, I would, one weekend I said, you know what, he's not going to be home. I'm on the road. I have to go back on the road on Monday. So I'm going to go to this place called a spa in Arizona called Miraval. I'm going to go there for the weekend, see if I can figure out how to get some balance in my life. Because obviously my life is totally out of balance. I'm unhappy. I wasn't sleeping. Part of that was because there's so much pressure on me at the job. Leading a whole sales force, all that other stuff. So I knew that something was wrong. I didn't quite know what it was. But one night, I was actually at home for a change.
Wow.
And I got up in the middle of the night again for the millionth time and thought, you know, I'm actually not living my life at all. I'm devoting every single bit of my life basically to my job. So I started to do what many people do is I got up in the middle of the night and I started writing a bucket list. And then many of you know the internet industry crashed in 2001, 2002. And the company that I was working for, before it went out of business, I actually took a leave of absence because I just was at my personal breaking point. I just hated what I was doing every day. I was not happy. I was not happy in any aspect of my life. My physical fitness had gone downhill. My stress levels were through the roof. My relationship with my husband was on the rocks. All this stuff was happening. So I took a leave of absence, and like the next week or maybe a few weeks after that, the company went out of business. So I lost my job. Soon after that, my dog died.
Oh, no.
10 years, and then my husband downsized me. So I was at a place in my life, and it's funny now, but it isn't funny when you're going through it. Like, I talk to people very frequently, and over the last 10 years, certainly I've talked to tens of thousands of individuals that have arrived at a crisis in their lives. And while I'm laughing now, it's actually not very funny when it's happening. I went to bed basically for a couple of months, and then I drank a little wine for a couple of months, and then I went on the road. I went traveling and visiting friends. I went and traveled all over the world for like a year. And I had some great experiences, but I was, again, not living my life. So I decided to move to San Francisco. I have no idea why, and no offense to those of you that live in San Francisco, but I don't know why I moved there. I don't like San Francisco. But I did. And I just I needed a wholesale change in my life. I needed to turn over a new leaf. I needed to figure out what Carla wanted to do. And I honestly, what I knew that I didn't want to do at the time, I knew in my heart, is that I never, ever, ever, ever wanted to go back to not living my life, which to me at the time meant if I went back to corporate America and I went back to that kind of lifestyle, right? I was at a certain place in my career. If I went back to that place, there would be no way that I could have a life again, right? Because I knew what the demands of the job were. I knew how to build sales forces. I knew how to do big advertising deals. I knew how to do all of that. And so that was my skill, right? I was also, and this is a funny side story, I was also in my early 40s at the time, and that is actually a little too old for the internet industry. I built that sales force. I was VP of sales when I was 36 years old. So that's kind of crazy when I think about it now. But I knew what I was doing, obviously. But what I did know when I went and I was at a place in my life where I needed to make some decisions because I was running out of money, right? You can only go so long being unemployed. I was running out of money big time. I had big responsibilities. I was in a lot of debt. I had a lot of debt to service. And but I knew that I never, ever, ever, ever wanted to go back to having a job again. Because, and now I know this in retrospect, because there was so much pain attached to that. I just spent almost 2 years climbing out of the worst pain I'd ever been in my entire life. And we've all been in times of our lives where it's been painful. And so I equated that pain with going back to a job, right? So I had been very lucky. At the end of that 2 years, I met my now current husband. I met my love of my life, and that made me even more resolved. And resolve is the perfect word, because I was completely and totally resolved that I would never go back to work again in a classic job. So what was I going to do, right? Looked at franchises, looked like it, I just felt like that was buying myself another job. Plus, I didn't really have the money to do that at all. I did interview at a couple of companies, but every time I had to go on an interview, I would get this horrible pit in the bottom of my stomach. I just knew in my heart of heart that that's not what I wanted to do, because I was so afraid that I was going to lose Don, right? If I went back to work, I would lose my husband, right, or my boyfriend at the time. And so I even looked at starting a retail establishment I lived in Pack Heights in San Francisco, and boy, am I glad that didn't work out. What a retarded thing to do, because that would have been worse, right? I would have been at this retail establishment 24/7, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I would never have made the kind of money that we've been able to make or live the kind of life. So randomly, has anybody done this? I was on Career Builder or Monster, and I was just clicking away in the middle of the night. Click, 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 click. I have no idea what I was responding to. I just knew that I needed to do something because bills are looming. They don't stop, right? They just keep coming. And the next day, a gentleman called me. I went through a brief interview. He said, go and listen to this conference call. I did. And that began my my journey as an entrepreneur. We weren't online marketers at the time. But I got started in an opportunity where I met you, Jesse, and I met, some of the most amazing entrepreneurs. I just was, again, I don't want to say I was lucky because, you make your own future, right? But I was lucky, too, at the time because, and I'll take some credit, I totally attracted this into my life. I knew to a certain extent what I wanted my life not to look like. I didn't, at the time, know what I wanted it to look like, but I knew what I didn't want. And so I ran forward. I got started in this entrepreneurial opportunity and promptly fell on my face for about 2 years. I wasn't coachable. I took all of this, and this is my first nugget for you guys that are maybe listening in today that might have a bunch of high-level background and presuppositions of what's possible or what isn't possible. This I got recruited into that company by a 24-year-old kid who was making about $100,000 a month. And I thought, holy crap, if he's doing that, I'm going to be rich because I have all of this great background. I can take all of the success that I've achieved in the past and I can transfer it right in here. Well, the only thing that I brought out of my past that even did anything for me was a sense of a work ethic, right? When you're in corporate America, you can sell yourself into a job simply by saying, hey, I'm willing to work 24/7. And the employer's like, yes. Right? So you get a lot of jobs saying that you're going to work 24/7, that you're a hard worker, and that I'll never forget in corporate America, my last job at Excite.com, I'm so embarrassed that I did this. We all did this. Our slogan was lunch was for losers, right? Who took lunch? Who had time for lunch, right? So anyway, back to my story. So I get started in this opportunity, and I am not coachable, and I'm not trainable. So here's nugget number one. If you're in any kind of entrepreneurial opportunity where you have successful people around you that are making it happen, just believe what they say. Just believe what they say. There is a formula, right? I didn't believe that setting goals and writing them down could get me any of those goals. I'm like, please, that can't possibly work, right? I didn't believe that working on my personal development would make me any more money than I had been making in the past. I didn't believe half the things that the people told me. I just kept saying, shut up, tell me exactly what you're doing, and I'll do that. Well, of course, they kept telling me what they were doing. So over those first 2 years that I promptly fell on my face, I needed to be humbled. Honestly, that was probably the lesson that I needed to learn most of all. I needed to get to a place where I was willing to be coached and trained, where I was willing to accept the formula that all of these entrepreneurs were telling me was the formula, right? So once I finally got to the place where I was like, okay, fine, I'm just going to do what they tell me to do, that's when things started clicking. Don and I, our first year after that, our third year we had, I think we did $220,000, and then it was upwards from there to our best day. I'll never forget it. It was August 20th, 2009. We had a $52,000 day. Now here's the second nugget. I was very lucky, and so are you, because the band is all back together. We are now all working together with the same entrepreneurs that I was working with, that Jesse and I were working with between 2004 and 2010. These are tremendously successful individuals that can pave the way for you, right? If you just, like I had to do after the first 2 years, empty my cup, so to speak, and this is an even better word, submit to the system. I just needed to let go of all of my preconceived notions about how to make money, what you needed to do to make money, what what I needed to do to make money, what I needed to do to provide for myself and my family, and submit. That's just the perfect word, because for me, I needed to submit. So here's the big thing that I learned during that first 2 years, and I have learned this over and over and over. I don't care what you want to learn. If you want to learn how to be a master gardener, if you want to learn how to hang lighting for cameras, if you want to learn Spanish, if you want to learn how to be an amazing entrepreneur, if you want to learn how to take your income from $10,000 a month to $50,000 a month, all you have to do is find somebody that's already done it and then do exactly what they do, right? So I found a group of entrepreneurs. Once I finally decided that I was going to be coachable and trainable, I found an entrepreneurs that I just followed them around. I got around them as much as I possibly could. If they were going to be in South Africa in June, I was going to get myself to South Africa in June. If they were going to be in Arizona in August, I was going to get myself to Arizona in August. And subsequent to that, Jesse, we've been able to travel all over the world, hanging out with amazing, successful entrepreneurs. So that might seem like a really simple lesson, but everybody's journey is different, right? So maybe somebody that is learning Spanish has the ability to learn it very, very quickly. I'm typically not somebody that learns that quickly. So all I do is get around that person that can speak Spanish and do as much as I possibly can to mimic exactly what they do. So that was a huge lesson that I learned. And the second lesson that I learned is to be true to my vision. So here's some of the mistakes that I made. So in the beginning of 2010, the company that Jesse and I were with made some, in my personal opinion, I don't know what you think, Jesse, but in my personal opinion, made some horrible decisions. The owners broke up and got out of integrity, right? Yeah. To the point where I could not be in front of that.
They lost their why, and that's something that is for a whole nother topic. But
they lost their way. They lost their why. They lost their way. They lost their minds. They lost
absolutely all of it.
They lost it completely. So all of us went all of our very separate ways, right? So I had this great idea along with another partner that I was going to start my own company, right? Oh, that's such a great idea. And so went and did that. And at the end of 2012, December of 2012, so a year and a half ago, I realized that I had a job again. And I had been prospecting on the phone for 30 years, and I was done. So what was I going to do, right? I realized that I had made the big mistake, and my big mistake was the thinking that owning your own company was going to be like being a marketer, like we are here, right? I, for some reason, thought I could still have control over my schedule. But after being a business owner for just over 2 years, investing all of my sweat equity, all of our money, everything we could into the business, I realized that I was in the exact same place. I was living in the house with my husband, but I wasn't seeing him, right? So I made the classic mistake of losing track of what I really wanted out of my life. So here's my last nugget for our time together. Figure out what you want out of your life. Our lives, as far as I know, we only have one, as far as I know. And you better make your one life the best life possible. The clock keeps on ticking every single day. And I'll be damned if I'm going to be at the end of my life and not having lived it. So in the wonderful words of Auntie Mame, live, live, live. Live your life. Live it to the fullest. Make a decision about what you want your life to look like, and then go freaking get it. Because that's what happened to me. I arrived at the end of 2012, a broken down, again, not in my physical fitness. I'm broken down mentally, broken down financially, broken down in every way that I could be. And what was I going to do, right? I told Don, I walked into Don, my husband's office, and said, I'm sorry, I don't know how we're going to make a living, but I can't do what I'm doing anymore. And God bless him. He said, don't worry about it, we'll be fine. I'm thinking, how? And he said, we'll be fine, and I totally support you, because he had watched me work my patootie off again. Not that I don't work now. We definitely work now, but it's different when you have control over your time, right? When you can go and do something on a Sunday, and you don't have to worry about programmers from India calling you and wondering what they need to do for Monday, right? So here it is. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'd heard about this Empower thing. I didn't want to work any business, but I had learned how to generate about 40 to 50 leads a week. So I had learned that I had leads coming in, and it had taken me almost 10 freaking years to figure out how to do that, right? So I knew I wanted to, that's valuable. That's a valuable asset. So I knew that I wanted to send them somewhere, right? I wanted to do all these other marketing things. I had a friend that we were going to write a book. We wrote a book together and did a bunch of stuff. And I've looked and looked and looked and looked and looked and looked and looked, and I've been hearing about this Empower thing, and yeah, I knew Tony Rush was in it, who we've known for 10 years. I knew that Kevin Knecht and John Lavinia and a bunch of other people that we have known for a decade now were in it, but even more importantly to me, there were huge marketers, like at the time Russell Brunson and Kevin Wilkie, and for all I know, Frank Kern was in.
Yeah, right.
At one point in time. I mean, there's just every big marketer out there. These are big internet marketers, not multi-level marketers or direct sales or anything. They were in Empower, and I thought, I'm just going to take a look. But this guy, he doesn't even wear a shirt, right? He doesn't wear shoes. Drops the F-bomb a couple times in the presentation. I just don't know. So, my story is not very different from John Lavinia's. I bought the first couple products, the Inner Circle and the blog in the Inner Circle, because I wanted to look under the hood. I wanted to kick the tires here. Because I was not going to work the business, right? I wasn't going to work the business at all, but I knew I wanted to send people to a place where they could be successful. That was incredibly important to me. I just felt I knew that prospecting, whether I was a good teacher or a bad teacher, I coached, I don't know, tens of thousands of people on how to prospect for businesses, and most people suck no matter what I could do, right? Because there's just bad mojo around picking up the phone and calling random people that you may not know, even if they're expecting the call, right? So there's just, it's one of the hardest subjects to teach on the planet. So long story short, I've made this story way longer than it needed.
No, it's all good. It's all good, Carla. It's all fabulous.
Obviously I saw the merits here. I kicked the tires, and I got on every training call that I could. I listened to everything. I watched endless hours of videos. I was all over YouTube, looking at Lawrence Tam's videos and Tracy Walker's videos and comp plan videos and all that stuff. And obviously, I thought, holy crap, this is pretty damn good. This is pretty damn good. So I walked into Don's office and I said, I think I'm in. And he said, well, if you're in, Carla, how are we going to get the cash? And so we figured that out. It wasn't easy. Here's nugget number however many I'm up to. When you're uncomfortable about something, that is a good place. Honestly, make big decisions. Do not settle. Go all, if you're here, get all in. There is no reason why you shouldn't be all in your business, right? Put yourself in front of every single penny you can. I've had people, it's not a lot of money. $5,000 isn't a ton of money. It isn't something you can't do, right? I've had people on my team, I borrowed the money from my 90-year-old mother-in-law. How embarrassing is that, right? But if you don't have a 90-year-old mother-in-law, I've had people hang Christmas lights for a season and get the $5,000 in cash. There's a million ways that you can do it. So if you think you can't, right? And if you think you can, you can. So obviously we got started. I am in love with Empower Network. I have fallen back in love with my life,
Right.
and you should too. So I don't know if you have any questions for me. I don't know if this has been helpful at all.
Right.
All of you here, if you're in Empower Network, you're already past the Rubicon. You've made your commitment. Now just figure out you have incredible entrepreneurs around you that are showing you the way every step of the way. Simply submit to the system, submit to what the leaders tell you to do, get yourself all in, and then move your business forward every single day. That's all I do. Nothing more complicated.
And Carla, thank you for all these nuggets. I have my notes here, and absolutely, something that jumped out at me definitely was something where you kind of resisted in the beginning, and for whatever reason, sometimes people have a mindset, well, I'm going to dip my toe in the water and I'll see how it all goes. And then on top of that, we really don't listen to the people who actually have had that success, and they are telling us exactly how to do it. Here's the steps: 1, 2, 3, or like we have our 8 core commitments here. That's something that we do, and it's not just to keep us busy, but it is definitely something that is going to change your life, and it becomes a habit. And when things become a habit, they become easier, and eventually that really becomes this new you. And there's real key reasons for us um, encouraging you and almost saying it's mandatory here to do the things that we ask you to do, and not just to keep you busy. And it's cute that, Carla had originally said she wasn't coachable and it wasn't working. And isn't that interesting? Our best thinking has gotten us to where we are today. Now, if we want to get to where someone who is successful and do and have what they have, then we have to change our thinking. And I think that's a journey, a process that we need to go through, and we have to eventually realize, well, I can keep trying to do what I've always done and expect a different result, or, hello, maybe I should try what they're telling me to do, because obviously what I'm doing isn't working. And obviously that's exactly what Carla did. And I have resisted many times on listening to the calls, and they tell you to do this, this, and this. And I don't really have to do it all. I don't have to get on every single call. I don't have to listen to the videos. I don't really have to start reading. I don't really have to do all this stuff, right? And then I realize I keep searching and keep looking and keep wanting that, wonderful result that I keep um, envisioning. But if, visualizing is only a daydream if you don't put it into action. And so those are the pieces that I have found extremely valuable that you shared here with us, Carla, because that's it. It is taking action, changing how you've done some things, and follow the instructions of the leaders that we have. And it's not just one individual or two or wonderful people like yourself. We have fantastic mentors here, and you all have access to these mentors, whether you're a part of the business or you're thinking of joining, because they are that accessible, they're that approachable, and they're down to earth, just like you and I. Probably your story is so similar to mine, coming from a corporate world, the technologies, the business, getting burned out, not being appreciated, as we get older, they want the younger crew to come in, you're just not happy anymore, you're not feeling good, and there's just so many different facets that many of you may be able to relate to, and in your struggle. And, as people say, well, it didn't work for me. Well, I often say, well, did you work it? There's a big difference. So I think I want to just kind of wrap it all up here, but bottom line is take what Carla told you, listen to this hangout again. You can get it on my YouTube channel, or you can go to the site again right here on this page. click the button below. Join us today. I promise to be there for you. I will actually give you a call back. This is the time I do call instead of a coaching session with you. But this is important. If you've been searching like Carla and I had been, and not finding the right combination, it is not only the great commissions you can make here and fabulous things like that, but what keeps me here, and I'm sure that's what Carla was saying as well, is it's this community, the people that we're around. We surround ourselves with just brilliant people who have already what we have and are on the same page as us. And I think that's very key to keep motivated, keep inspired, and that's what keeps me going. And then the books that I'm reading now just keep me on track and just keep my mind filled. And there's something that we talked about that even Elaine mentioned last night, and I really put into play, is that work really harder on your mind and your mindset than you do on your business. Of course, it's important to work on your business, but if you've got your right mindset, it'll keep you moving in your business. So, Carla, thank you so, so much. I can't say enough. Folks, she is also an author of a fabulous book. If, Carla, you want to just mention what that book is, just so that people can check you out and know, about your book. I think that's a word.
Sure. Sure. I was very lucky to be selected to be a co-author with the great Brian Tracy of a book called Change Agents. I think we're rolling up in September. It's going to be a year anniversary. So you can find that on Amazon.com, or you can send me an email at carla@carlasilver.com, and I'll send you a copy of my chapter. Happy to share.
Great. Carla, thanks once again. Everyone, take notes. Watch this again. Come back, and I will see you next Tuesday. We'll have some new guests coming along in the next couple of weeks, and have a fabulous day. Take care, and see you soon. Bye-bye.